Hari Om. Hari Om to everyone. We will begin our fourth sadhana day with Shanti Mantram, followed by Guru Stotram. After that, Pujya Swami Sharadananji is here. Swamiji will be taking a meditation session, followed by a session, and there will be a question answer session also will be there. So if anyone want to ask any questions based on the sessions, you can post that thing in our chat box, and Swamiji will be answering that. So we will start the session by Shanti Mantram and Guru Stotram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Garavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratan Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lenghayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Guru Stotram. Akhandamandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sthavaram Jangamam Vyaptam, Yatkinjit Sacharacharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvashruti Shirorakna Virajita Padambujaha Vedandambuja Suryoyaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Vyomatito Niranjanaha Bindunadha Kalatitaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnana Shakti Samarudaha Tattvamala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradataja Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atmajnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shoshanam Bhava Sindosya Nyapanam Sara Sambadaha Guror Padodakam Samyak Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Naguroradhikam tattvam naguroradhikam tapaha tatvajnanat param nasti tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथः मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुर्परमदैवतं गुरोर्परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं गुरुदेव देव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। Here Pujya Swami Sharadanji is here, and I request Pujya Swamiji to take the session. Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Suprabhatam. This month's session we will start with a small meditation, and then we will go for a lecture. And if there are any questions related to our topics we covered in these lectures, you may ask, and then we can discuss that. So let us start with the meditation. Please sit straight. Interlock your fingers and keep on your lap. See that your back and head is in one line. Shoulders are relaxed. Slowly close your eyes. Be comfortable. Arrange your seat so that you are comfortably seated. Slowly take your mind to each and every part of your body and feel that the body is completely relaxed. Your legs are completely relaxed. Knees, thighs, and abdomen. Backside is completely relaxed. Our stomach is completely relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. Hands and fingers are relaxed. Neck is relaxed. All our facial muscles are relaxed. Our head is relaxed. Body is completely relaxed. For a few minutes, let us give a break. Let us take a break from thinking different topics. Ask the mind to be calm and quiet. First, let us concentrate on our breathing. Do not try to control the breath. Just watch our breathing. Just see that the pranas are coming in and goes out. Let the mind is not thinking about any other topic now. Mind is fully aware of our breathing. Our body is completely relaxed. Mind is relaxed and fully concentrated on our breathing. Now we will do a deep breathing exercise. Take a deep, deep, deep breath. Let the prana fill our stomach, chest and nostrils. Very slowly exhale. Again, inhale. Take a deep, deep breath. Very slowly exhale. Once again, take a deep, deep, deep breath. Inhale. Very slowly exhale. Now we'll go back to normal breathing. We are sitting straight, eyes are closed, body is relaxed, mind is relaxed. Mind is focused on our breathing. We are aware of each and every breath. Try to visualize that when we are breathing in, all positivities, all good qualities, all divine qualities are entering into us. And when we breathe out, all negativities are leaving us. With each and every breath, love, compassion, devotion, dedication, and peace are entering into us and filling each and every cell of our body. And when we breathe out, all the negativities, our anger, frustration, all the negative thoughts, they are all leaving us. With each and every breath, we become more and more calm and quiet and pure. Just enjoy this pure consciousness which resides in our heart. Now we'll take a deep breath and we'll chant Pranava Omkara. Please inhale. Once again, take a deep, deep, deep breath. Once again, take a deep breath. We'll chant Omkara. Let us pray to the Supreme to bless us with courage, wisdom, understanding of life, health, peace of mind. By the grace of Bhagavan and Puja Gurudev, let us become more and more dedicated to the path of our spiritual seeking. May Bhagavan and Gurudev guide us through the right path, and may we really reach our destination, which is our true nature in the same birth. Let us chant Shanti Om 3 times. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Do Namaskara with your hands. Now, please rub your palms together. Create a energy level in between your palms. See the warmth in between your hands. Slowly place them on your eyelids. Feel the energy and the blessings. Once again, rub your palms together. Place them on your eyes. Let's do one more time. Palms together. Place them on your eyes. Slowly blinking your eyes, slowly open them. Hari Om. In our last classes, we were discussing about the Upasana. What is spiritual life? What does it mean? Last class, we heard the Bhashya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Bhagavan is talking to us about Upasana. What is Upasana? What are the different aspects of Upasana, etc. Today, we try to understand what is actually, see, there are lots of theories, but practically, what can we do? Sadhana and spirituality is not just talking something or just listening to some talks or reading some books or understanding some philosophical ideas. That is not the real spirituality. Real spirituality is actually practice. So, what is the idea of Indian spirituality? The Indian spirituality, as we are telling, it is not just a philosophy which is just talking about some ideas, but it is something which is very, 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 very practically practiced by each one of us. So they say that there are hundreds of paths. if we read our scriptures, there are so many paths described there. But all these paths are classified into 4. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. So yoga, yuj, this we have studied in the first class also. Yuj means to combine, to join. So yoga means, there are yoga, 2 meanings are there mainly. One, yoga means the path. Yujyate anena, that which will help us to reach the goal. And the second meaning is yoga means we become one with that Supreme. So yoga means the ultimate, our goal of life. Yoga also means path to reach this ultimate goal. Now they say that there are 4 main paths. No, they said Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. And in this, each one of there are different aspects. Okay, so what is Karma Yoga? Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi will tell what is Karma Yoga. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. So yadyat karma karomi tattadagilam shambho tava aradhanam. So what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is actually Bhakti Yoga. Without Bhakti, Karma Yoga is very difficult. Bhakti, why? Because to do Karma Yoga, Ishwararpana Buddhi should be there. Whatever I am doing, they are all an offering at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. This Buddhi should be there, then only we can perform Karma Yoga. So what is the core of Karma Yogas? One is this dedication. Bhagavan will tell to us in Gita. Bhagavan says, what you should do? Mam anusmara yudhyacha. That's it. One formula for us to remember always. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Always remember me, Bhagavan, Ishwararpidam, and dedicate all actions to me. Do every action in the perfect way. So sometimes people think, oh, Karma Yoga means do whatever something you do, that's all. We do. No. See, when we are doing some action for Bhagavan, that should be in the perfect way. So our complete attention should be there in that karma, but we should always understand that this karma is an offering to Bhagavan, a puja to the Lord, and whatever karma bhala comes, that is his prasada. So when we perform a karma, karma bhala will naturally come. It is impossible to do a karma without karma bhala. A result of action will be always following karma. But the only problem is, we can only do karma. We cannot actually understand what kind of karma bhala will come to us, because daivam chaivatra panjamam. We may do all those things, but there is something which is greater than, which is not in our hands. There is something which is, beyond our control regarding karma bhala, the results of action. We are doing an action that is in our hand. But how the karma bhala will come, that is not in our hand. So that's why that famous verse of Gita, karmanni eva adhikarahate. We can perform, we can choose, we can perform our karma with total dedication. Karmani eva adhikaraha ma bhaleshu. See, of course, it doesn't mean that, sometimes people misunderstand this yoga. They say, the sloka says that, how can without a goal, without a, bhala, how can you do karma? See, I want to become a doctor. Okay, so if I want to become a doctor, this karma bhala, if it is not there in my heart, how can I study? So it doesn't mean that, we don't in life. We have a goal. To achieve that goal, we put our practice. We does our the best possible from our side. We do as much as possible to achieve that goal. Which Baba? With the Ishwararpana Buddhi. So I have to reach there. Oh Bhagavan, I am doing my best. Now the rest is with you. So when our concentration is not on karma bhala, then our mind is fully available for doing the action now. Suppose I want to become the first in my class, in my examination, and I'm always thinking that I should become the first, I should become the first. I will never be able to really study or even write exam properly because I am preoccupied with this thought that I should become first. See, I have thought that I should become first. That's it. This is my goal. But that is whether it will happen or not is not in our hand. There are many other factors. So, what is karma yoga? Doing our karma as perfect as we can, as a dedication to Lord, Ishwararpitam. And there is no clinging attachment to the karma bhala. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma bhaleshu kadachana ma karma bhalahetur bhuhu. And we should not always thinking about the karma bhala. Our attention should be in our karma. Matek sangostu akarmani. Oh, this is very tough. So let me not do any karma. That is also not possible because without any karma, it's difficult for us to survive. So what we should do, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi very beautifully say, Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. Because when we are doing our karma in a perfect way and offer all these karmas as a service to Bhagavan, and then without the raga and dvesha, without the likes and dislikes, we perform our our activities, our dharma, our karma, our worship in the form of our duties as our dharma we do. Slowly our chitta becomes pure. What do you mean by chitta becomes pure? Ragadveshas are subdued. Ragadveshas are removed from our mind so that we become focused and we live in a life of total dedication, and our mind is filled with this devotion to the Lord. So this is the karma yoga. Now comes jnana yoga. Karma yoga, jnana yoga. What is jnana yoga? One, suppose when we are ready, our mind is now, because it is very pure, it's very it's concentrated. Then what happens? We are able to connect with the Supreme. So we are able to understand. So what is karma yoga? Very beautifully, Yajnavalkya put it into a small line. Atmavare drashtavya. Jnana yoga says, what is the purpose of our life? Atmavare drashtavya. We should recognize, understand our true self. Who am I? Make one who. What is my true nature? Atma drashtavya. We should have the direct experience of the Atman. So for that, what we should do? Srotavyo, mantavyo, nididhyasitavya. So what is jnana yoga? We should do the sravana. No, we should listen, we should hear Upanishads and Gitas and spiritual talks, etc. So that asambhavana, we do not know about there is a self, and then we are actually self and all that. So when we listen to this, when we listen Shastra, slowly this understanding comes. Sravana. So first part of Jnana Yoga is Sravana. Oh, I have listened to so many talks, but that is not enough. Sravana should continue with Mananam. No, so we should not only hear, but we have to contemplate. Okay, what are they trying to tell us? What is Bhagavad Gita is trying to tell us? We study different scriptures, and what are these scriptures are trying to actually communicate to us? So this is something, like we are eating, and so slowly we have to digest it. Not only eating, keep on eating and it is not digested, it will be a very big problem. So Shravana is not enough. Shravana is important, but along with Shravana, we should have Mananam. Okay, so now we are discussing half an hour, 45 minutes. Now after this, we should not just close this and then go, okay, something over, class is over. We should again sit down and then remember, okay, what are the topics we discussed today? What is the essence of it? So that is known as the Manana, contemplation. Now, Shravana is done, Manana is done. Is it enough? No. So we went to the shop, purchased rice and vegetables, everything. That is Shravana. Now we cooked. We came back, we cooked rice, we cooked vegetables, everything. But that is not also enough, because we have to do the now we have to eat. Still hunger is still there. Only going to the shop or cooking will not quench our hunger. We have to eat it and digest it. So that is known as Nididhyasana. So many thoughts are there in Mananam. Manana comes to the understanding, and from there we go to one thought. Last time also we heard this. From different thoughts, we come to one thought, and then that becomes our experience, our aparoksha anubhuti, our direct experience that I am the supreme truth. So this is jnana yoga. So a person who is, who will be able to do this, this is the best path. So karma yoga, jnana yoga. Then comes bhakti yoga, the path of devotion, the path of bhakti. What is this bhakti? We always hear bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. But what do we mean by bhakti? Bhakti comes from three levels. First level of bhakti is bhagat bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhagat bhakti. Bhakti means bhaga. Bhaga means what? We start to feel that I belong to Bhagavan. We join a party. We are all in different parties, but then this is a new party. What is that new party? Actually, not new party, ancient party. That the party of the Lord, Bhagavan's party. So slowly we develop. What is bhakti's first step is we slowly develop a kind of connection with Bhagavan. This is the most important step in. See, we may be going to temples, we may be doing different rituals. That's all good. But unless and until this connection is not there, we have not started anything actually in the path of bhakti. So that's why in bhakti yoga, when we hear different words like Vatsalya bhakti. Vatsalya bhakti means we see Bhagavan as our baby, as our child. Or we see Bhagavan as our sakha, our friend. Or we see Bhagavan as our beloved, Madhura Bhava. Or we see our Bhagavan as our father or our brother. A connection is there. It's not that we sit there and then Bhagavan is somebody. We do some japa, no. First and foremost, actually we start to become we become a bhakta when we are able to find a connection with him. As our father, as our mother, as our Lord, Bhagavan, we are Swami. Bhagavan is Swami and we are his Dasa Bhava or Vatsalya Bhava or Sakhya Bhava. Some kind of a Bhava is developed in our heart. Then we are in the path of bhakti. That's why he said Bhagat. Bhaga means we are in Bhagavan's bhaga. We are in Bhagavan's party. We are in Bhagavan's side. So bhakti means, first meaning of bhakti is bhagat bhakti. Now, second meaning is there. What is the second meaning of bhakti? So I feel that I am Bhagavan's. Now, just it is not enough that it belongs to Bhagavan. Bhaja sevayam. Bhaja sevaya. We offer seva to Bhagavan. What is seva? Now in Bhagavata it says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyamatma Nivedanam. Seva of Bhagavan. We start to worship him. Shravanam. We love to hear about him. His stories, his Mahatmya. Shravanam. Kirtanam. We love to sing his glories. We love to sing his, chant his name, his glories. Smaranam. We love to remember him. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. We actually start to worship his holy feet. So his holy feet is not only in our temple. We see that Bhagavan is everywhere. Ashtamurti. We start to feel that Bhagavan is there and we start to serve. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. Archana. Each and every word we utter, each and every karma we do, we start to do is as an offering to Bhagavan. Vandanam. We see that Sarvam Ghalyudam Brahma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. Ishvara resides in the heart of each and every being. My Bhagavan, my Ishtadevata resides in the heart of all beings. Understanding this, we becomes more and more humble. The path of bhakti is like that. Bhagavan says in Bhagavata, who can actually do this? Say, tarorapi, trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahi. We should understand, we should feel, we should consider ourselves as lower than a trina, than a grass, and who can bear like a tree, and one who gives mana to everyone and never expect any mana from anybody else. Such a person. Now, when we start to serve Bhagavan, that is bhakti. So first we should feel that we are connected to the Lord, and then our each and every action becomes a worship of Lord. Sevayam. So, bhaja, bhagat bhakti, bhaja sevayam bhakti, that is bhanjanat bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhakti is that which breaks. Breaks what? Breaks all our illusions, all our wrong thoughts, because of which we all suffer. All those negativities, all those, the pettiness there in our heart, all those negativities, all our papa vasanas, all our wrong thinking, they're all broken. They're all destroyed. Bhanjanat bhakti. Bhakti is that which makes us free. We are all caged in this samsara. We are all tied up to this samsara. And bhakti breaks our, all kinds of bondages and makes us free. So that is bhakti yoga. How bhakti makes us free? That's why Narada Bhakti Sutra says, what is bhakti? Satu asmin parama prema rupa. That parama prema is filled in our heart. Slowly, slowly, all other thoughts are removed. In jnana, aham brahma asmi. No, aham, we are starting from the aham. We are concentrating on I. Who am I? That is the path of jnana. In bhakti, we are thinking about that. Tat tuam asi. Tvam Pada Pradhana is Jnana Yoga, Tatpada Pradhana is Bhakti Yoga. We understand, we try to worship him, try to understand him, try to dedicate ourselves at his lotus feet. Slowly, slowly our aham is demolished, only he is there. So when I feel that only I am there, that is Jnana Yoga. And only he is there, that is Bhakti Yoga. But please understand, at the end only one is there. Whether we walk the path of Jnana Yoga or we walk the path of Bhakti Yoga, at the end only one is there. Ekameva Dvitiyam, Brahma is there. But in Bhakti what happens? It becomes Bhagavad Pradhana, Tatpada Pradhana. We worship, we adore, we try to always remember about the Lord. Our vritti, our chindana, our thoughts are always connected with the Lord. Slowly, 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 slowly. Wherever what Yatunnu Kanmatatu Narayana Pratima, Yatunnu Kelpadatu Narayana Srutikal, Yatunnu Chevadatu Narayana Archanagal, Yatunnu Tokke Hari Narayana Yanama. Says, Yatunnu Kanmatad. Whatever I see, whatever I perceive, it is Narayana Pratima. See, Bhakti leads us to this state. Wherever, whatever I see everything is a manifestation of Narayana. Whatever I hear, everything is Narayana Sruti. No, everything is the name of Narayana. Yatunnu Chaivatat, whatever I perform, everything is worship of Bhagavan Narayana. Yatunna Tokke, whatever exists in this universe is Narayana himself. This is the path of Bhakti and ends in Jnana. Jnana, neti, 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 neti. And then we understand that only that Supreme is there. Here, Saiti, Saiti, Saiti. This is his, this is him, this is him, this is him. And then we come to the same point. So this is the path of Bhakti Yoga. Now comes Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga, the path of kings. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. What is that? That is a path, what we call as the mystic path. A path which is we call as the Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So Yama, Niyama, control of our mind, control of our senses, and then Pranayama, we practice prana. It is very much a systematic paddhati through which we slowly come to the same state of Samadhi. Through Pratyahara, we are Yama, Niyama, Asana, we practice some asanas, etc., so that we can sit for longer time without any body discomforts. And then Pranayama, we practice, we try to control our pranic energies. Pratyahara, the Indriyas are brought back from its subjects to the self. That Dharana. And then we keep our mind firmly established in the supreme truth, or whatever we meditate, dhyana, and then we enter into the contemplation. Right? Like last class we studied Taila Dharaya. Like the flow of oil, our mind is also only one vritti, dharana is there, dhyana is there. That will lead us to Samadhi. Samadhi, there's no more duality, only the supreme truth is there. This is Raja Yoga. So there are 4 paths. In these, there are different paths. Raja Yoga, this Nada Yoga, Laya Yoga, Hatha Yoga. So many yogas are there, which are all parts of these 4 paths. Okay, so in Upasana, in our spiritual practices, we are supposed to take up one of these or combine. What is best for us? we may feel that, okay, I will first do little asana, pranayama, etc. Then I will sit for puja. Then I will go for meditation, etc. See, they say it's a very beautiful statement in Upanishad. Upanishad says the path of the sages are like the path of a bird. What do you mean by that? See, we know that a bird is flying, and then but there's no marks in the sky. It is not like a cart if it goes through the mud. We can see, not like that. When a bird flies, we cannot understand through which path that bird is flying. Like that is like that each one of us. Sometimes people ask, what sadhana I should do. Of course, our Shastra tells us hundreds of sadhanas. Now, each one of us should take up, different sadhanas and make a combination which is the best for us. And then we should walk this path. So, no, I am a Jnana Yogi, so I will not do anything else. See, in India, nothing is, that watertight compartments. Everything is interconnected to each other. So, what we should do, whatever is the best for us. That's why Jnana, Karma, Bhakti, Raja Yoga, Samanyaya. What is the path of what in Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga is very difficult to walk only one path. Okay, so in Kali Yuga, what we should do? We should understand, okay, these are the paths. These are the techniques. Okay, these are the techniques which Shastra is trying to tell us. Now, what is best for me? Some people can, they can sit and do, japa and then puja, etc. for a long time. Some people can't do that. Some people can meditate. Some people can actually think about different concepts. So, see, what happens is, so that is our main path. But then we need the help of different things also. So when we understand, okay, this is my main path, and all these things actually can help me, then we will be able to really walk the path of spiritual life. So these are the four paths. Now, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gives us one more tip for our spiritual growth in this Kali Yuga. What is that? Bhagavan says that in Kali Yuga, see, we know that Bhagavan is, main focus is on who am I, Jnana Yoga. But Bhagavan says very nicely there that in Kali Yuga, Annagada Pranaha, people are so much, of body conscious, and then it's difficult for them to come away from all these attachments, etc. So what we should do? We should have a proper paddhati. Okay. See, they say that Bhagavan blessed us with three karanas, three equipments. What are they? Our body, our speech, and our mind. Bhagavan says, Kaya Vangmana Karyamuttamam Pujanam Japas Chindanam Kramad. See, we have these three equipments. We should use all these three in our journey. In the journey to the perfection, to this journey of the, whether we call it Ishvara Anubhuti or Ishvara Sakshatkara or Atma Sakshatkara. There's not two things. When we walk the path of Dharma Bhakti, we call Ishvara Sakshatkara, Tat Sakshatkara, Tatpada Sakshatkara. When we walk the path of Jnana, we call it Atma Sakshatkara, Tumpada Sakshatkara, but Sakshatkara is same. So we have these three, karanas with us: body, mind, and intellect. Or body, mind, and or walk. Kaya, Vang, Manaha. Kaya, body. Vak, speech. Manaha. Manaha means all our, intellect and buddhi and mind, etc. So these are the three equipments we have. With this, if we want to progress in our spiritual path, what we should do? We should do three things. What are they? Pujanam, Japaha, Chindanam, Krama. Sometimes, many people we meet in our life, they say that they are very much interested to listen to talks. They are very much interested to read books. But when we tell them, see, this is not just enough, you have to do something, they are not interested. No. We just want to listen to talks and then, read books. That's good. Then we will get lots of informations, etc. Please understand, just by studying Gita, just by understanding Upanishad, just memorizing Brahma Sutras, a person will not able to experience spiritual evolution. Instead of studying mathematics, physics, and chemistry, we are studying all these things. But if we really want spiritual, adhyatmika prayana, if you really want that, what they are talking about, the spiritual experiences, the spiritual experiences are possible when we practice. So what are the practices? Bhagavan says three things: pujanam, japaha, chintanam. Why puja? Many people have a very aversion towards puja. Puja, etc. is for lower kind of people, maybe. But anyhow, Ramana Maharshi is telling us, see, Bhagavan says that, see, we all remember when we are small kids, when we are, before learning cycling, we used to have a small cycle with 3 tires. Before we go to the 2-tire, 3 tires. I am sure, we remember that. So there, why the 3rd tire? That third tire actually help us to balance. Okay, like that, we start with a puja, because in the puja, all 3 of our karanas are involved. Our body is involved, our, we chant mantras, so our speech is involved, and with concentration we should do puja, so mind is involved. So all 3 are involved in puja. In japa, 2 things are involved, mainly. We are sitting in one place, but we are not doing anything else. We are just sitting, and then we are chanting our mantra. Okay, so our walk is involved, and then we are concentrating on that truth. So mind is involved. Now we come to the pujanam, japaha, chintanam. Even our speech is also not much involved. Chintanam, only our mind is involved. See, from 3 to 1. So if you really want to meditate also, all these things are helpful. So we start with pujanam. Along with puja, we do japa also. Along with puja and japa, we do chintanam, meditation, thinking, manana also happens. Bhagavan says this is the best way to most of us. There are exceptions always. There are people who doesn't need all this. They can directly go to the meditation. They can, but suppose we are not able to do meditation, etc. Understand that we have to prepare ourselves. How? Through puja, japa, and chintana, so that systematically we grow. Then our growth becomes very steady. We really will be able to advance in our spiritual life, and we shall be actually experiencing this great understanding, great experiences of the spiritual fulfillment. So now, next class, when we are again meeting next month, we will take up each one of this. First, we will talk about puja. What is puja? How can we do puja? Can we do puja? Many people have this fear. Oh, puja is only, the pujaris should do. We should not do puja. Ladies cannot do puja. So many things are there in our heart, mind. So all those things we will discuss in next class. And what is the tattva behind puja? You know, what is the actual truth behind puja? Why should we do puja? How to do a puja? A simple puja. How is it possible to perform? See, when we actually practice, there we start to develop our spiritual life. And next class, next month, we'll take up this concept of puja. So what is puja? Why puja? How to do puja? What is the, what is the theory, or what is the, truth? What is the idea behind puja? All these things we will discuss in next class. Okay. So if you have, we have a few minutes. If you have some doubts on regarding whatever we have discussed, you may ask. According to the time, I shall try to answer. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Already we have received some questions, Swamiji.
Yes.
Swamiji, I will read it out.
Yeah. I can't
one
see.
thing already, Swamiji, already this thing already covered, I think. Is there a hierarchy for karma, bhakti, jnana, raja yoga? How do we know which is best suited for us, or where we are at this moment?
Okay. See, there is actually no hierarchy as such, but so how we know, that is the question. How we know is only by trial and error. That's the truth. See, we take up, different yogas, and then slowly, see, that's what I'm trying to know. Unless we practice, we will never know. So try to take up one aspect of this, and then try, which is, so in Kali Yuga, the path which is prescribed to us is a combination. That's what I was telling last class also, in the class also. It's a combination, not purely Raja Yoga or purely Karma Yoga. When we can take up, aspects from all these 4 yogas and put, and then give importance to 1 or 2 paths, then it becomes clear for us that, okay, this is my path, and then slowly we will be able to progress. So when we progress, when we walk this path, then slowly things get clear to us. See, we are sitting, we want to go to Kashi, we want to go to Sabarimala. We are sitting here, we are thinking, oh, what is the route, how is it going to be here, what are the hardship there? We may sit there and then think about 10 years, unless we put our first step, we will not reach there. So slowly walk the path, and as we walk the path becomes more and more clear to us. Bhagavan, Bhagavan will help us. The Devatas will help us. Rishis will help us. Gurus will help us. If we start, you start from anywhere. And then slowly we understand that, okay, this is not mine, this is not mine, this is not mine. Okay, this is good, this is good, this is good. And then slowly we start to walk the path. So there is no, see, we cannot say that, oh, everybody should start from here. No. But that's why Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was telling to us these 3 things, puja, japa, and chintana. So this is a very beautiful package. Now everything is packaged. So this is a beautiful package in spiritual life. Little bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of this, and then slowly we will know, okay, this is what I am more comfortable with. And then we can, we can walk that path with more dedication and understanding. Okay.
Swamiji. Swamiji, one more question. Swamiji, can we meditate opening our eyes? Why closing of eyes is needed?
Actually, when we meditate, we say that, when the Shastra is talking about Siddha Purushas, when Siddha Purushas are sitting, they may not close their eyes or anything, because they can see there is no difference. They see that this entire Sarvam Khalyudam Brahma, everything is Brahman. So why to close eyes? Because that is a Siddhavastha. So in our case also, we can meditate both ways. One is a open eye meditation, another is a closed eye meditation. Okay, why to close eyes? Just to minimize distractions. When we close, we sit, and when we close our eyes, then it is easy for us to concentrate on our dhyeya. We are meditating, whether it is jnana yoga meditation or karma bhakti yoga meditation, we are meditating upon the form of Lord, or we are meditating upon the different aspects, tattva. See, closing our eyes will help us to concentrate. That's all. So as a beginner, when we are walking the path, when we are starting our path, closing our eyes, etc., it may be helpful. Okay, may be helpful. And then when we are in the world, what will happen? We see this universe, and then consciously bring this idea that everything is Bhagavan. So there also is as a meditation. But in the beginning, this could be a little difficult. That's all. Because the mind is, so in dhyana, we are trying to keep ekatanata. We are trying to keep one thought. So unless we are practice for some time, when our eyes are open and when we see different things, there is a possibility of our mind to get distracted, and many thoughts starts to arise, and it becomes difficult for us to meditate. That's why Shastra generally tells us that in the beginning, close your eyes and meditate. So there is in Kathopanishad also, Kathopanishad says that Paranjighani Vidranat Swayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashirinandaratman Kaschid Diraha Pratyagatmanamaichat Avrutta Chakshu. So that Upanishad says, see, because all our indriyas are outward and flowing, we are not able to see the Atma which is always there inside. So Avritta Chakshuhu, when we turn our chakshus back to our mind, this chakshus is not our eye but our mind, to our true self, we will be able to realize. So as a practice, we start with closed eyes meditation. And Upanishad also says Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. So meditation start with everything is in me. When I progress, when I understand that everything is in me, when I open also, I see that Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam. Everywhere, me, myself is there. Atma is there. Ishvara is there. But in the beginning, for most of the people, closed eye meditation, closing eyes during meditation may help. That's all.
Swamiji, last question, Swamiji. If one has not been initiated, how does one know what name or mantra to chant?
Yeah. See, one thing is, if we can get initiated by a acharya, a guru, that will be very helpful. It is like, when a guru is giving us a mantra, he's not only giving a mantra, he actually shares a small particle of his sadhana with us. I mean, it gives a first push. We need a first push to begin. That first push is given by the guru or acharya. So that's why in mantra diksha is very important in our life. But suppose we are not, we are not yet initiated, don't stop. Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanand Ji, Puja Gurudev always says that don't wait for some guru to come to your life. Take up any mantra. Any mantra means what? Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Such mantras are there, okay, which are prasiddha. These mantras are prasiddha. Prasiddha means what? Which is already given by the gurus and rishis, and which is popularly known by people. Take up one mantra as your Ishta mantra and starts to practice. Suppose after some time we meet a guru, and the guru, and then guru, you tell guru that this is my mantra, then guru can give the same mantra to us or some other mantra. But this if we are taking up, so what we should do? there is no guru for us, suppose, okay, but you have a guru bhava towards somebody, like Puja Gurudev or Sri Shankaracharya, or or Sakshat Dakshinamurti. Bhagavan Dakshinamurti is the guru for all. So keep that person as our guru, and in mind itself you feel that Bhagavan Dakshinamurti or Shankaracharya or Puja Gurudev or Tapovan Maharaj or any Ramana Maharshi, any person you have that kind of a guru bhava, keep him in your heart and then request Bhagavan, please give me the mantra, and whatever mantra is your wish, the mantra you like, you feel that guru is giving us that mantra in our mind. So that is also is a kind of initiation. Okay, and then we can do the sadhana of that mantra and we can progress. So don't wait for, let some guru come, then I will take a mantra. No, don't wait for that. Take up a guru, keep him as your, a guru in your heart, and whichever form of Bhagavan is more attractive for you. Whether it is Krishna, whether it is Rama, whether it is Vishnu, whether it is Shiva, whether it is Devi, any form of mother or Bhagavan, which is more, which is actually captivating or which gives you a natural attraction. Take up that mantra and then feel the presence of Guru in your heart, and as though the Guru is giving you mantra diksha, take that mantra from your Guru, who is, who are Hridaya Guru, and then start the practices. That also will give us the desired results.
Hari Om Swamiji, questions over, Swamiji.
So now we'll go to the next Hari Om. Hari Om. So hope to meet you all in next session. Hari Om. Pranam.
Hari Om Pranam Swamiji. Now we will listen to Puja Gurudev. After that, we will conclude the session by Shantipada.
Even though you know now the secret of great achievement, don't, Arjuna, don't have the misconception, or any one of you, that tomorrow onwards I am going to be a great person. No. Even though you know it, tomorrow also you will be living as stupid a life as yesterday. You know it. You can advise others, but your own life will be the same pattern. So don't feel disappointed. Swamiji, I heard this, and the Gita, when you go back home, everybody will criticize you. Oh, this is what your Swami told you. This is what Gita told you. Anything that you do, you will be criticized. Why? You know it, but you can't live it. It takes time. You know the recipe, but with that recipe, when you go to the kitchen, what comes out of it is not even your dog will eat. And you say that I did it exactly. Yes, but it takes time for you to prepare that recipe. See? Thus, my friends, the Krishna tells the same thing. Jnanavan abhi, even though you know, Arjuna, now this secret of great achievement, you cannot. Why? Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha. Each individual always lives sadrisham, exactly prototype of his own past. You mean to say that drunkard doesn't know that he is drinking too much and he is getting a cirrhosis of the liver? Are there not doctors who are suffering from cirrhosis of the liver? Doesn't he know that it is because of his over drinking? Yet can he stop it? You go and advise him. Doctor, what are you doing? Just now you came from the hospital and you have started drinking again. Swamiji, you are advising me. I am MD. Now I have added an A between the MD. You see, the point is, I am empty. I know everything. Then why are you doing it, doctor? That is Swamiji, I can't live without. Why? The past vasana, tendency that you have created in the past. You act exactly as the past that you have, your habits. It takes time, conscious effort to change the pattern of your thoughts and actions. It takes time. Not that just went for the camp and 1 week I was there, Swamiji, no improvement at all. I attended all the camps, 1 whole month, no improvement. Improvement is not promised from anyone. It takes time. You have to get yourself involved and change the style, the pattern, the quality of your thoughts. Then only your performance will improve.
Hari Om. Now we will conclude today's session by Shanti Mantra, and next month, December 26th, we will meet again 3 times Omkara and Shanti Mantra. Oh. 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 Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If you have any questions, you can send it to us, and in next session, Swamiji will be replying to it, answering it. Hari.